Hello folks. You'd be forgiven to say that we're in some big desolate swampland. And yes, this place is sort of desolate, but we are still in New England nevertheless. What we're looking at right now are the banks of the Ashwalot River. And where we are right now, this is an important river for the town we are in. A town called Keene in New Hampshire. That's right. We have entered from Rhode Island to our 15th state on this New England excursion. So yes, live free or die, folks, because we are now in the Granite State. On this excursion to New England, I have been really excited to go to New Hampshire because, as far as my knowledge goes, New Hampshire seems like the New England state that's the most underrepresented. You think of the nice coasts of Maine and Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and then you think of the urbanite cityscapes of Connecticut. And even up in isolated Vermont, you'll see that there's quite a few towns, and people know about the Green Mountains and even Burlington, but do people really know all that much about New Hampshire? I mean, it's not upside down Vermont, that's for sure. So what do you guys think when you hear about the state of New Hampshire? Do you think of the relative geographic isolation of New Hampshire? Do you think of the desire of the inhabitants of New Hampshire to just be left alone from the rest of the country? Do you think of that man on the mountain? Unfortunately, that is no longer intact as of around 20 years ago, but it's still an iconic landmark for New Hampshire, even though it's no longer here. So yeah, generally, I've always thought of New Hampshire as such an enigma relative to New England. And that's why I am so excited to show you all what there is to do in New Hampshire. Not only are we going to be visiting here for 1 or 2 days, but as we come back, I have a couple more things planned for New Hampshire. Because there is so much to do in the small state of New Hampshire that unfortunately not that many people know about. So follow me as we on the Coverage Project make our debut visit to the state of New Hampshire in the small town known as Keene. Even in New Hampshire, there are cities like Manchester and Nashua near the rest of New England cities like Boston and Portland, which you may know about. But even within New Hampshire, we are in southwestern New Hampshire, a region called the Monadnock region, I believe. Pronunciation, once again, a little tricky up here in New England. This region of New Hampshire is sort of where the Ashwalot River holds its territory. It's a tributary of the Connecticut River, the same Connecticut River that we saw when we went to Hartford. And desolate this region is. It's so desolate right now that it seems like mosquitoes have taken over this area. I have to keep swatting them all around every few seconds because they are just so abundant in the woodlands of southwestern New Hampshire. But yeah, let's get out of here, this river woodland area. Let's actually explore what the town of Keene, New Hampshire is all about. No more mosquitoes, no more bugs. We are now in the downtown area of Keene. So some of you might be wondering, why did I skip on my journey northward Massachusetts? It's a large state relative to New England. Why did I skip it? Well, I didn't want to. I would have loved nothing more to see the cities of Boston, Plymouth, Salem along the shore, and then go inland to places like Pittsfield or Springfield or something like that. But the state of Massachusetts and its parks department really love to price gouge non-residents. As you know, I am doing this whole thing with a camper. I have to park at campgrounds for the night and sleep there. And unless I want to pay $70 a night for not even water and electric, but just bare bones dry camping, $70 a night, I don't think that's a fitting deal for me and what I need, especially when I'm trying to save as much money as possible. So maybe someday later in time, but Massachusetts, please fix your campground prices. But let's get back to where we are now. We are in New Hampshire, in this great small town of Keene. Look at all this. Nothing like a good old-fashioned New England designed high-spired church. So we are really in the midst of downtown, and you can really see all around us lots of shops, lots of cars going by, of course, but more importantly, different shops and markets and different businesses going on. And the buildings they inhabit, this eclectic mix of all these architectural styles. Everything seems a lot older here, even the walk signal signs. And look at that, we got the Keene clock. We are on a roll for finding clocks here in New England. Seems like this used to be part of the Keene train station. Which actually reminds me, the real significance of Keene, New Hampshire is that this used to be a big railroad city. You know, a hub, a stop along the way through New England. I think the Maine and Boston Railroad ran right through here, where we're walking. And it looks like a very straight path. That's what you'd want out of a railroad, nothing too curvy. Yeah, this little town seems to really be so walkable. It's compact, and of course the roads were made before the automobile, so you can really walk around very well, as is sort of a similar case with most of New England. Oh, now that's an interesting structure. Looks quite old from the rotted out woods. What do you think that might have been? Because I got no clue. Could it have been a mill, either for industry or farming? Now take a look at those brick industrial buildings. You can tell there was some sort of factory or industrial plant going on there. Just the design of how it was. But yeah, New England was big, big, big on manufacturing. That was a big part of their economy for most of their history. I don't usually go out of my way to buy things, but I actually, believe it or not, bought a book right here at this bookshop. I didn't want to go to some Barnes & Noble, I wanted to go to some local place. Yeah, if you're ever in Keene, New Hampshire, and you want to buy some books, there's the place to go. So I will say this, in Keene, New Hampshire, it looks like the downtown area isn't really different from any other American small town. It's just that quintessential small town, downtown area. It is sort of a college town, and that's why there's a lot of college-catered shops, but I'm sort of gonna ignore that for right now. The more important focus is just the true culture of Keene, New Hampshire. Look at all those chickens. Now, I, as much as the next person, would not really consider New Hampshire to be a big farming state, but I've come to learn that there are plenty of farms in rural New Hampshire. Not just the pasture farms for, you know, the general crops, but also a lot of tree farms for things like maple with its syrup. Here in the forests of upper New England and New Hampshire, there are plenty of locally grown farms like this, Stonewall Farm, where you can go and buy local homegrown products, from the meat and dairy products of the cows here in southwest New Hampshire to the various herbs and spices collected. You can find it here at Stonewall Farms. Southwest New Hampshire?
Yeah, no, we grew them literally like 100 feet down that road.
Really?
Yeah, our farm is right here.
So it's really local.
It's
Wow.
about, 1 millisecond drive from the garden.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Coming out, have a nice trip.
Yep. So, to support local markets like these, Stonewall Farm, I bought a $1 cucumber that fits right in the grip of my hand, and I'm gonna snack on it. Oh, you have no idea how refreshing one of these cucumbers are on a hot, humid day like today. Go to Stonewall Farm, get yourself a $1 cucumber. We have one last site to see here in Keene, New Hampshire. Let's make it count. When you get far north enough into New England and the cities disappear, the towns get more and more sparse, you will be surprised at just how beautiful, spectacular the New England nature is. So in states like Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, these states are known for their beautiful forests and mountains. And as you can tell, this view is just so panoramic and picturesque. I mean, take a look. The lakes, the trees, the mountains. So I did lie a bit. We are no longer in Keene. We're right outside of Keene, just a few miles northward. This beautiful body of water is known as Surrey Mountain Lake, and in southwestern New Hampshire, where we are, it's known for just having this picturesque beauty. See, this is exactly what people think of when they're reminded of the pure, tranquil beauty that New England has to offer. Now, this is Surrey Mountain Lake. Is that Surrey Mountain itself? I got no clue, but one thing's for sure, I wouldn't mind spending a nice, relaxing weekend here. Calm, peaceful, away from the hustle and bustle of cities. You could just be completely alone and have the time of your life. That is, if you like nature. If you don't, well, I'm sure there are plenty more cities and towns. But this is what Upper New England's all about, the nature. And I didn't really intend for Keene, New Hampshire to be the first location or debut location in New Hampshire. I did want it to be a bit later in the trip, but as I told before though, the Massachusetts campground thing threw a big wrench into my plans, and I was forced to really reroute my whole itinerary. But surprisingly, being here in Keene, New Hampshire, it really summarizes what New Hampshire's all about. We had the small town charm and the beautiful nature here. I stand corrected, actually. If I had an unlimited supply of bug spray, I would have the time of my life here for a weekend. These bugs are really killing us. To conclude our debut into the Granite State, New Hampshire, I will say this. New Hampshire is a very significant state, although very underrepresented in New England. It was one of the 13 original colonies, and Vermont wasn't even one. Maine wasn't even one. New Hampshire was. Throughout America's history, New Hampshire played a very critical role in the development of New England. And throughout many states where you can find that sort of modernization of culture everywhere in the United States, New Hampshire might be one of those few places where you can still see nature at its most pristine and culture at its most traditional. So with that being said, I love New Hampshire, and I can't wait to explore a little bit more of this underrepresented state with you all here on the Coverage Project. So with that said, walking along, is it a shore? It doesn't look like much of a beautiful shore, but walking along this coast, this edge of Surrey Mountain Lake in Keene, New Hampshire, more travels to come. I will see you at the next location.